Thank you for that. And we're here with our Truck Tech Community segment on this Wednesday morning. We've got Alan Adler joining us today, again, out from the deserts of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And
you're home.
Alan, you're coming with us with a full report on what's going on with Torq Robotics. They've got a brand new partnership to talk about, and I'm excited to hear about it.
Well, I'm not sure what that is. You'll have to remind me of the partnership, but I really do feel that this has been an incredibly productive time out here in the land of red and green. What is that again, Kayla? You never said it Monday.
Red and green chili.
That's it. Right. Okay,
It's Christmas.
I've seen red ones. Anyway, let me get back to the point. Yeah, so we've spent about a day and a half with the Torq Robotics folks, and as well as Daimler Truck. That's their owner, basically. They're an independent subsidiary, and they are a player, and really a well-developed, is what we learned, player in the autonomous trucking space. This is much more than trucks and making trucks run, autonomously. This is the entire, the overused word ecosystem, I think, that involves where you're going to take these trucks, what are the customers going to do with them? One of the more interesting things I think we had happen was fireside or panel discussion yesterday with Snyder and with CR England, as well as Schreiber, the shipper, talking about how they're testing now the Torq system from Phoenix all the way out to oh goodness, I'm going to forget this because I saw a lot of maps yesterday, but basically it's a 1,000-mile route that they're running with safety drivers at this point. But Torq has now said that it will be ready to go without drivers in 2027. First route is likely to be Laredo, Texas, up to the Dallas area, and then on to St. Louis from there. But this is something that they didn't pick up on this route themselves. They didn't pick this. They let the customers do it. And because there's so much nearshoring going on now with materials going into and out of Mexico, that this Laredo route is something that is really, really attractive for shippers and carriers as well.
Alan, Torq is one of those companies that just in the autonomous space, we really haven't had many headlines about at all, given the kind of the volatility that's been in that market. Can you give us at least a little bit of a background of what they're up to, and in terms of obviously Daimler with their relationship with them? You've already mentioned big things are on Daimler's mind at this point. What's going to, do you think, can be the fruition of this, we'll say partnership but agreement?
Well, Bill, the one thing that Torq has access to because of its relationship with Daimler is this amazing customer base, right? I mean, more trucks are sold by, Class 8 trucks are sold by Daimler than anyone else. When it comes to over-the-road mileage, long-haul trucking, Daimler claims about a 60% market share on the part of their customers. So in the case of just not being able to run, say, pilot routes and things like that are good for press releases, they're actually working on what it is that how do you get people ready to do these jobs? A dispatcher's job is one thing today. Tomorrow, it's going to be something different. The safety inspections are going to be different. A lot of these things that we've heard dribs and drabs about from other companies, this is all things that are now in the mix to get ready for Daimler. You might say, well, why do they need till 2027 when others say they can do it at the end of next year? Daimler, and this goes to your question about not a lot of headlines, Daimler has said from the very beginning, or Torq has said in conjunction with Daimler, that we are not going to go, but when we do, we will be more complete and more ready to serve the customers than anyone out there. And after this particular visit, I'm not sure I would disagree with that. I think I'm hearing everything that has to go into a true autonomous trucking system that goes way beyond the computer driving the truck, okay? I mean, it is getting ready for movement of goods on specific routes and expansion and scaling, which is really why 2 years ago we had a turnover in in Torq's management. Michael Fleming, the founder of Torq Robotics, stepped aside. He's still on the board, but he decided at 43, I think he decided he was done. And the reason is that it was time to start working on a true business case, not just doing trucks and sort of the research and development phase and the testing phase. It was time to get ready for a real business. So in comes Peter von Schmidt, who had actually helped negotiate the deal for Torq with Daimler back in 2019, and he takes over as CEO, and he has brought in a number of other folks. One holdover, though, is an original, they call them Torkers. One of the original Torkers is Andrew Cohen, and Andrew is the Chief Strategy Officer. Friday's newsletter will focus on Andrew. He's also in today's show, which we did the full high desert autonomy show from here in New Mexico. So that'll be on this afternoon at 3, and you get a chance to watch that. We have interviews with Andrew, but the longer interview is actually with Joanna Butler, who is the head of all things autonomous at Daimler Truck globally, and then also Peter von Schmidt, who we've interviewed in the past. But the three of them really will explain this much better than I can here this morning. But I do think that you're looking at a fulsome sort of approach to autonomy.
So, Alan, anyone who's familiar with the Desert Southwest knows that I-10 corridor, which runs from Phoenix out to the west, of course, towards the Los Angeles area, and then out towards the east in through El Paso, down into southern and southwestern Texas. We know that that's kind of this hotbed for autonomy because it's pretty flat, you've got pretty predictable roads, you've got pretty predictable weather conditions. But when you move further north up into New Mexico, into Albuquerque, where the headquarters of Torq are, it gets a little mountainous, it gets a little hilly, and if you start running east and west there, you'll run into some not so ideal road conditions. Is Torq now looking at running any true autonomous lanes or even those driver-in lanes out of their New Mexico headquarters, their Albuquerque headquarters, and running in some of those more unideal conditions right now? Or is it strictly reserved I-10 in the easy places? We'll call it easy. We know it's not truly easy.
Yeah, well, their routes out here, they operate out of a former car dealership, and this is the research facility. They're still based out in Blacksburg, Virginia, where they're very close to the Virginia Tech Transportation Institute. But interestingly, one of the things that Peter von Schmidt said to me is, he said, we learn so much more in terms of things that we can learn just running around here, in the Albuquerque area, where you have the intersection of I-40 and I-25, and the test routes that they run. He said, I can learn so many more things on a close route running here than I can say from here to Amarillo. He said, I might get a half of a thing learned, whereas I'll get 20 running around here. So that explains why, being close to, although not running in urban traffic, I want to be clear, they're not doing that other than, if it's near the distribution center or it's near the hub that they're looking at. And Daimler is completely committed to hub-to-hub autonomy. They're not interested in extending it into urban areas. There's just not a business case for it, and it's incredibly complex. So to your question, they are looking, right now this long route is from Phoenix, as you said, that's I-10, and then it's all the way out to the terminus later. And I'm just blanking on where it goes. I'm so sorry, but basically it's 1,000 miles, and this is something where Andrew Cohen said, "Yep." He said they're on their last drip of gas, last drip of diesel, getting into these finish spots. But I do think that they will run out here, in bad weather, because it does get snowy and it does get kind of yucky out here at times. It's in the 30s this morning, so they'll run at all times with safety drivers, of course, at this point. But I think that, as I said earlier, that first route from Laredo up to the Dallas area is going to be their first commercial route in 2027, with no drivers.
As someone who learned to drive in the Albuquerque metro area, I can attest, you do learn a great many things there.
I bet you do. Alan, would just have a little bit of time.
What was this thing you want to talk to me about? What's the partnership? Tell me. I think I know.
We were talking about Daimler and Torq together.
Sorry. That's not new because it does go back to 2019. But the headlines, Bill, I don't think I addressed that. It's really a question that they are kind of nose down into their business. They've certainly made a few more announcements recently, as they've started working, for instance, CR England and Schneider. Of course, those are two customers that buy predominantly Daimler trucks, right? So when we talk about this ready-made customer base, there it is, right there. It was interesting that C.R. England did say yesterday, I asked him kind of on the sidelines, I said, you're running loads for Kodiak right now too. And he said, yeah, we are. And I said, but my sense is after listening to you that you're not doing quite as much development work with them as you are with Daimler. He says, no, we're not. He said, it's important to know what others are doing. He said, but we're truly, truly ingrained with what Torq is doing and Torq and Daimler. So I think there's a comfort level for the customers that are predominantly Daimler truck and Freightliner customers for the Cascadia, to extend into this area. This will become an option, honestly, just the same way an engine might be an option. When you buy a truck, that's what autonomy is going to be for Daimler Truck. It's going to be an option. You buy the Freightliner truck, and then you go buy the subscription service for autonomy from Torq.
It's going to be really interesting to watch this unfold over the next few years or so. Alan, you've got the show coming up again today, 3 p.m., Truck Tech from New Mexico, and of course the newsletter coming out on Friday, correct?
Correct, and it's all going to be. I get the Torq people should be really happy. They gave us enough content that I've got plenty to talk about and write about, and hopefully help people understand a little bit more of what's happening with this particular effort.
All right, Alan, thank you for that, and we will talk to you soon. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.